Ranking up in Rainbow Six Siege is one of the hardest things to do if you're a new or existing player. That's why in today's video, I'll be giving you the easiest guide if you want to actually rank up if you're hard stuck in your rank. Now, the first thing I'm going to go over is the fact that I have a 4-step plan for you. The first step of this 4-step plan is going to be getting a warm-up routine. Now, in many of my countless videos, I've droned on and on about how I think a warm-up routine is crucial if you want to improve as a Siege player. If you ever have that feeling of, well, I was really good in T-Hunt or in Deathmatch, but in-game I seem to do worse, then a good warm-up routine might be the reason why. I too had this phenomenon happen to me before I got a warm-up routine, but now I have at least 3 steps that I take in order to properly warm up in my ranked games, and it shows. The first of which, you're going to go into the target range, and you're going to make the balls very small, 4 of which are going to be active at a time, and they're going to go at walking speed. If you do this exercise correctly, this exercise specifically will practice your flicking and your micro flicking, which is one of the most important mechanics, arguably the most important mechanic when it comes to aiming correctly in Rainbow Six Siege. If you do this to where you get at least 80% accuracy back to back, then you know that you're probably warmed up in the slightest for this warm-up routine specifically. Now, this can vary if you're on console, but on PC, 80% is usually the route that you want to take. Now that you've practiced generally just using a gun and flicking in the game, you want to move over to the map tutorials. Now, this is usually where T-Hunt would have been, and it's kind of just replaced T-Hunt. For that same reason, you want to turn on headshots only, and you want to just walk through Clubhouse. Whenever you're walking through the map, it will tell you in the top left where you want to walk to find the enemies. This specifically, you want to be trying to aim head level at all times. This is the purpose of this warm-up routine in specific, to aim head level. If you're one-tapping people head level because you turned on headshots only, it will allow you to consciously aim head level more in your ranked games, which is something that's very important, especially in this game that is a one-shot headshot game. It also teaches you how to properly face check angles and quick peek, because sometimes these robots will hide in the weirdest of corners that you need to clear if you want to kill them and not have them kill you, because of one simple fact: these things shoot back. I've actually gotten to really low HP before because these things will just shoot me in the back because I didn't actually correctly face check an angle. So this in specific will teach you to aim head level and face check correctly. Now, the final step of my specific warm-up routine is going into an arcade. This will get you to actually get real guns against real players so that you know how they move and you can act in terms of your aiming accordingly. Shooting dummies and shooting red balls that go across your screen is all in good, but if you're not shooting real players, then you won't actually be able to account for that in your aim, because real players move different and you go in gunfights at different speeds with different positioning against real players. You'll hold angles for a little bit longer, you'll be maybe a bit more aggressive, you'll hold certain angles on certain maps because you know these maps back to back, so you need to be going into an arcade to account for real player movement if you want to have the final step and arguably most important step of this crucial warm-up routine. But now that you've completed the warm-up routine, you should be a lot better off, especially if you're consistently doing it to the point where you know that your aim is warmed up and you're confident in yourself before you go into your ranked game. Now, that was just one of 4 different steps that I'll break down for you so that you can actually rank up fast and easy. The second of which being that you need to stop trying to rank up. Now, this can seem pretty paradoxical, but ranking up does not matter in Siege because you have something called hidden MMR. Hidden MMR essentially says, well, this is your rank, but you're still going against X-ranked players. Me personally, I just started the season at the time of this recording, which makes me Copper. That doesn't mean that I'm going against Copper players though. Because I was champ last season and the many seasons before, I'm still going against people who were also champ last season. I just happen to have a Copper PNG as my rank. So like I said, rank does not matter because you'll be facing the same players that you would have been facing last season at your highest rank. Knowing this, you should know that truly when it comes to skill, your rank doesn't matter. Picture this for a moment. You as a player really like your rank and you play all the time without really trying to improve all that much. You're just trying to get to your next rank. Now, because you care about your rank so much, you make sloppy mistakes because you're in the heat of the moment and you have adrenaline due to the fact that you're so excited or nervous about hitting the next rank, whether it be because you're about to lose the round or about to win the round. Versus a player who doesn't really care about their rank, they really just care about improving. This player will do things like properly peeking angles, properly just aiming head level and trying to one-tap people because they know that it will improve their aim even though it might lose them games. They do things to improve instead of doing things to rank up, which in turn will make them lose more games, But after a long while, they will just get better at the game because they're focused on improvement and not on ranking up. Now, who do you think will rank up the most in a 3-month period? The person who cares about ranking up but isn't actually improving mistakes, or the person who spent 3 months improving their gameplay who doesn't really care about ranking up? Well, the person that actually cares about improving will improve more and therefore rank up more in a 3-month period. So you as a player need to focus more on actual improvement, whether it means losing games or winning games, more than actually ranking up. So yes, even though it seems paradoxical, you want to not focus on ranking up and actually just focus on improvement. Now, focusing on improvement can be easier said than done, which is why I have these final 2 tips for my 4 tips to actually rank up fast and easy. The third of which being that you need to find a stack. Now, picture this. You're a solo queue player, all of your teammates are probably solo queue as well. You go to R6 Tracker and you see that all of the enemy team is 5-stacked. Or you look and you see they all have the same name, which pretty much means that they're 5-stacked as well. What is scarier, going against 5 solo queue players or an entire stack? You probably guessed it, going against a stack is pretty scary, but if stacking wasn't really that good, then it wouldn't be scary. But the reason it's scary to you is because you know people that are stacked are inherently at an advantage compared to you solo queuing. So now that you know that stacking gives you an advantage, let's talk about why. Stacking gives you an advantage because you have guaranteed comms. If you are a solo queue player, you don't have guaranteed comms. You could have solo queue players that maybe just don't use their mic because they have an ego and they swing everything, or they just don't have mics to use. So because of this, you don't have guaranteed comms. Even then, you could give comms, but it's not guaranteed that your teammates will act off of it. But if you have a 5-stack that you can trust, this is no longer an issue. Not only will you have better comms, but you will have a better gameplay experience because of the fact that you have a 5-stack which is more inclined to listen to you due to the fact that they respect you more as a player. People in solo queue don't respect you as much because they see you as a quote-unquote random, and randoms don't get as much respect because of the stigma of randoms typically being bad in your games. Not only this, but if you 5-stack, you can utilize information at a much accelerated and efficient rate. If you have drones and cutoff cameras, or you're playing Zero, or you just have cameras in general, it's more likely that you can tell your teammates respectfully to get on cameras after they die and them just actually do it. Not only this, but it's just more guaranteed that they'll get on cameras and give you information, because like I said, it's more common that they'll give you information in the first place. So stacking is very, very nice. Not only this, but if you're stacking, you can curate and carefully choose who you stack with. This means that if you're a fragging type player and you need that support aspect on your team, you can choose to pick somebody that you know will guaranteed play support. You also, after stacking with certain people, after a while will just get cohesion with those certain players. So you'll naturally just be more in tune with those players and able to make plays off of them, which means you will be able to refrag off of them better or have them refrag off of you better. You will be more in tandem when it comes to using utility that's important, whether it be Thermite and Thatcher, Maverick and Buck, things of that nature. Not only this, but if you are 5-stacking with players that care just as much as you do, chances are they will care about their games just as much as you do. So you won't have them playing Caviar across the map, and you'll probably have them using utility that actually matters. Having people that you know guaranteed care about the game and try as hard as you do is very nice because it guarantees that you won't have randoms that'll throw your games after you tell them to just get on cams. But one important buff of also having a stack is the fact that you have people that you can just mess around with that are just fun. Having teammates that can cool you down not only will make you make more logical decisions, but it also will just make the game more fun because you have teammates that you know you can have social interaction with outside of the game. It's very, very fun, very, very effective, so I definitely recommend that if you don't already, at least find a duo, a trio, but in the best case scenario, find an entire stack that you can play with. Now, the fourth tip that I can give you to actually rank up fast and easy is to analyze your deaths. You need to be learning from every single mistake that you make. If you die, instead of just blaming the game, blaming your teammates, blaming the enemies, or just not really caring and moving on to the next thing, you should really analyze why you died. Were you out of position? Was your aim not on point? Were you holding an angle incorrectly? Did you swing something you shouldn't have swung? Did you not use a piece of utility that could have saved your life? Was your positioning bad and you were exposed to multiple angles? There's many, many questions that you can ask yourself in order to actually get better after analyzing your death. Because not only should you be analyzing your deaths, but you should also be putting into practice after your analyzation. What does this mean? Let's say you are actually taking the step to analyze your death, which by the way most people do, so you'll be ahead of the curve at least in that aspect. Well, if you are taking the extra step to analyze your death, you could also just be analyzing the death and then making the same mistake again. There's no guarantee that you'll analyze the death and actually put it into action. So you really need to be analyzing your death and then making sure that it doesn't happen again in terms of how you died. If you positioned wrong, make sure you never position in that same position again, and also make sure that you never find yourself on a different map, on a different side, or in a different position in the exact same position that you were in the position you died to, right? So let's say I expose myself to 2 angles. You never want to be doing this. Well, instead of just never exposing myself to 2 angles in that one specific spot again, I need to make sure that in every single spot I'm only exposing myself to 1 angle, and that's the angle that you're trying to take the gunfight from. Simple little mistakes like that you can analyze and put into your gameplay to easily make it to where you can rank up. And honestly, it is just common sense. If you have a brain, you can easily utilize any 4 of these tips that I just gave you. But that is pretty much it for this video. My name's Elka, check out this next video, sub the channel down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.